Welcome to our first live on LinkedIn. I'm super excited. What a great start for the year for us. And I'm hoping that this will also turn out to be a great start for you guys. Welcome to 2023. Wish you all a very happy new year. You know, in the beginning of the year, everybody's super excited and they want to do new things. Trust me, I've been wanting to do this for a long time now. But the reason why we were holding it back is because we don't want to do something and then not bring in the consistency required and the discipline required to continue. And so we needed to do some back end work in the preparation and manage the bandwidths and do what we needed to do to make sure that we can commit this one slot with you guys. I really wish to connect with my entire tribe of leaders out there who are consciously working on their ability to lead in a better way, and that's the only driving force that makes us do what we do here at SBY Academy. So as a leadership coach, I feel extremely passionate about the work that is that is being done, continues to happen, and will definitely continue to happen in future as well in the space of leadership. Today, in the first live session with you all, in this first 30-minute slot, I want to, touch upon the relevance of leadership. Why is leadership so important? What's the big deal about it? What is there to learn? Because leadership has been around for a very long time. Ever since industrialization came in, leadership took some shape and form. Hierarchies were defined, and leaders were just there, sitting on different roles and different levels of the pyramid. The pyramid took its own shape, and the rest is history. And we've really not talked about leadership. If you look around very closely, you will see that leadership is becoming a moot point, a central point, a core discussion point in every single forum today. And there is a reason for that to happen. Unlike various other topics that come and fade out, I don't think leadership is just another fad, just another trending topic. I think it's a very important topic. And if I were to counter this question on why is it becoming so hot now, leadership has been around for a long time, ab kyun baat kar rahe hain hum? I think my honest answer to that is better late than never. We've never talked about parenting, but we realize now that we've gone wrong with parenting, if I could use the word wrong here, because I'm a parent myself. And I think we as parents don't go through any learning. And it is one of the most important milestones of our life, right? But we're not ready for it. We just jump in and become a parent one day. And then we try and figure out how to be a better parent. In the process, we'll end up doing a lot of damage to, people who we are parenting. Similarly, leadership is another very important responsibility that we take over without really being prepared for it. We just jump into this role because we are doing very well as executives. So we get promoted so that we are motivated and we continue with this journey, and our motivation levels are high. So to keep that high, the organizations will pick a few good executives and promote them to the next level. And that's when you start becoming responsible for other people around. That's when you're supposed to know leadership, but unfortunately we don't learn it. Now, I've done MBA myself from a good college, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have done MBA as well, or any management course that you would have done, even if you've done it from Ivy Leagues. Let me tell you that what we have learned in that course is what management is all about, not so much about leadership. Would you agree to that? I have some people here. I just want to quickly say hi to those who've taken time out to join me live. Naveen, Ravindran, good to see you here. Samarth, Vanshika, so good to have you. Hi, guys. I really want you to keep interacting with me and tell me what are your views about what I'm sharing. I've worked very closely with a lot of CXOs. I've coached around 100 plus CXOs and business owners, and I feel so happy to see the openness with which people are receiving leadership lessons. How open and flexible they are to learn leadership in a better way. As against what, I thought before I plunged into this space as a professional coach, I thought, will I be really getting that kind of a warm welcome? Will people be willing to explore this space with me? Or will they say that, Yukti, we're already so successful, and that is because we already know what we need to know, and so there is nothing much to learn. But I think I've been honestly very pleasantly surprised with how open people are to learn. and how much do they realize the gaps that exist in their own leadership style, leave alone leadership per se in the industry or in the market outside. So let me just go a few steps back, and then I want to leave you with a little glimpse of what future of leadership will look like. But before that, let's just get a little historic about where this whole discussion is coming from. Like I touched upon MBA, and I said that we've learned a lot of management skills. So if I were to just bifurcate skills that we need to be successful between management skills and leadership skills, not much has changed from then to now, and not much will change in the future as well. You see, management skills revolve around three things. What are the plans that we're making for business? What are the budgets that we need to allocate? A manager needs to know this. How will we organize people? How will we recruit staff? How will we place people at the right level, right positions? What will be their JD, job description, etc. is what a management role is. A manager must know. And the third is controls. What are the controls that we need to have in place? How do we understand problems? How do we solve problems? Now, these are management related skills that we need to develop. Now, plans and budget basically is when a manager needs to set timetables to achieve results and allocate the resources which are required for us to execute. This might look like a leadership skill, but this is actually more managerial in nature. Right? I'll tell you how to kind of understand that broadly after I take you through these three important roles of a manager. The second role is organizing and staff, which means managers set up structures, right? They achieve plans, they create structures, they delegate, they put the policies and procedures together, they make sure that there are systems in place to monitor what is being executed. And the third important role of a manager is controls and solving problems, keeping an eye on what is the outcome, what is the result we are getting, detecting what is the variation from the plan, the target against actuals, and then organizing the course correction that is required to manage the variation. So if you look at this broadly, management is about managing the status quo. How do we keep the show running is what management skills will teach you. But that's not enough. Definitely not enough when you have to prepare yourself to go up the pyramid, the corporate pyramid. If you are a startup, then it's not enough from day one. You need to inculcate leadership skills as well. Now, what are the leadership skills that are required, and what does it really entail? Three things to my mind. First is leadership skill is about establishing direction for the entire organization, the entire team. It's about aligning people. It's about having the skill to motivate and inspire them. So establishing direction is when leader develops a vision. Now, this is not just a vision statement that we put as posters on the wall. This is really vision as in what is the foresight that I have as a leader? Can I see what will be relevant 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Do I have that foresight? Do I have a vision that is driven by a purpose? Purpose that can become purpose for the entire team, not my personal purpose that drives me. But when 10 of us come together, 100 of us come together, how do I show them that bigger picture that excites them, that motivates them? So creating that vision, which is led by a purpose. The second then is to align people, right? So leaders communicate the direction in such a way that those who are important, those who have to be a part of that plan, understand it. They need to accept the plan as well. And then we find ways to act upon it. It is not just my plan that I'm going to hand it over to you saying, this is where the company must go because I'm a leader, I'm saying so and you follow. Let me tell you, a lot of people listening to this will say, "Arey, aisa koi nahi karta hai. You know, we understand. Sabko leke chalna hai. You know, sabke saath chalna hai. Sabko samjhana hai." But trust me, as much as I am in the middle of this leadership pool, very far and few people actually do what they know. A lot of us know a lot of things. My question to you is, how much are you doing what you know? And hence, I'm going to really touch upon the basics in our first live session today because we really need to start from there, right? So aligning people is not just about knowing what you have to do with people. Are you really putting that vision out there to be questioned? Are you allowing people to have their viewpoint? Are you open to being challenged even on the vision? Forget about the plan, the business plan. I'm saying the bigger picture. If you have that flexibility. Now, a lot of us are in the middle of a mature setup. Now we've lost the opportunity to go back to the drawing board. As long as there is a vision in place, it makes more sense to start aligning towards that vision instead of questioning the vision. But if you are in a space where you're still getting the blueprint together, when you're still getting the structure together, if you're a startup, or if you're an organization that is just getting a toehold in the industry and you haven't really taken off as yet, spend as much time as you need to get your vision right, to align people to that vision, and then build the capability to motivate them, help them to overcome the barriers that they will face when they face change, right? Satisfying their needs, their aspirations is a plan that you need to develop from day one of hiring your people. That is a leadership skill. So, leadership skill is focused more on the future. Management skills are also very important and relevant because they help us to maintain the status quo. They help us to achieve what we set out to achieve as a leader. So, the way this works is not to choose one above the other. It's not as if, will I first become a good manager and then a good leader, or do I need to be a good leader first and then I should be a good manager? I think they both need to really go hand in hand. You need to build both managerial skills as well as leadership skills. The difference is this: as you grow up the ladder, leadership skills start becoming more and more important. So let me take a quick pause here and check on what my people here are sharing. I love to read out their views. So Swati is creative thinker and graphic designer. I think that's what Swati is. So I would say leadership comes with self-initiations. Just meet, yeah. So I think what you're trying to say is that it's about being self-driven, and I couldn't have agreed more. I think you need to be somebody who's self-driven and self-motivated as a leader. Thank you, Lena. Good to hear from you too. Thank you for joining in. Thanks, everyone, once again. I would love to know, what do you think is the difference between managerial skills and leadership skills? We keep talking about the future of leadership, what 2023 is going to bring and how will it be different. I think what's more important is to understand what does leadership really mean. Leadership is not about day to day functioning of an organization. That's the managerial set of skills. Leadership is about building the foresight. It's about going against the tide if you need to. It's about challenging your own ideas and thoughts sometimes if that is what's required for you to do. Do we have it in us to become that leader? Do we have it in us to stay open and flexible? What are some of the traits, skills that we need to develop to not just perform today, but also remain relevant tomorrow? What does the future of leadership look like? So let me first throw this question out to you all. And if you're going to watch this later, please pause, if you can, and mull over this question I'm putting out to you guys. What do you think leadership means to you? What does leadership mean to you? And on a scale of 10, how would you rate your leadership abilities? Given that the focus of leadership, as I explained a while back, is on setting the right vision, establishing the direction, aligning people to that direction, that vision, and then building the ability to motivate them and inspire them. To what extent are you ready with these skills? How would you rate your ability to create a vision, your ability to have a foresight, your ability to keep widening your canvas? How do you have a foresight, by the way? Foresight is about seeing what is not visible, isn't it? And to see what is not visible, you need to stay abreast with what is visible today and what it's likely to be tomorrow, which means you keep widening your canvas, which means you really have to be jack of all and not master of one. Not just a master of one, but really a jack of all. Know a little bit about everything so that you can see what is the ripple effect one industry will create, which might have an impact on your industry and your work, or the future of your industry and your business. We might perish as business. We don't know how AI is shaping up. In fact, we've already seen how it has added to productivity in so many industries. How every industry today has a tech arm, right? You take education, you have ed tech. You take agriculture, you have agri tech. You take finance, you have fintech. How much of technology do you know? How comfortable are you with technology? We cannot anymore put that aside and say, I'm not a tech person, right? So that's another thing that a leader has to keep aside, that I'm not a this person and I'm not a that person. I think as a leader, you need to have quality of water. You know how water takes shape of the vessel that you pour it into? That's what a leader is, really. Leader decides the style of leadership depending upon the people that he or she has to lead. There is no one style. So you can't just come and say, okay, I'm Yukti and, I have been a leader for 20 years and my style of leadership is this. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. And in fact, if you've been able to pull this off for a year, 2 years, you need to know for a fact that you will not be able to continue with that even for a few weeks, because the people, the generation that you are leading is such a mix generation of a different mindset altogether. It's a cocktail that can be relished or that can give you severe stomach pain. Depends upon your ability, your readiness, your preparation to enjoy that. So picking from what Praveen is saying here, are you ready to leave your team on their own to run the show? Yeah, Praveen, absolutely. Right. And that's easier said than done. Because as leaders, we behave the same way as we do when we are parents. We just don't want to leave kids alone because we think that they're safer with us. Can you just let them be and let them learn from their mistakes while having an overview, an oversight on what is happening, so that you're ready to jump in when you need to and before it's too late? So that balance is such a beautiful, fine balance, that doesn't just come from experience. It also comes from knowledge. Experience will teach you in a reactive way, right? It's already happened. You've made a mistake, you failed, you've learned. That's one way to learn. But life is too short to keep failing and learning, right? Because then you're always more reactive than proactive. To be proactive, you need to build that ability to have that foresight. You need to build the ability to stay back, hold your thoughts, let people share their views, and they might look wrong, they might look absurd, right? But you allow that to come in. You allow people to create a voice, because unless you create a buy-in, it is very difficult for people to hold accountability. So I'm going to touch upon that as I take you through the future of leadership very briefly today. Swati says, together everyone achieves more. Absolutely, Swati. We've been using this acronym for team for like donkey's years now, right? But how many of us are really understanding the meaning of this? Together everyone achieves more does not have one person holding the flag right at the front. The beauty of a level 5 leader who we consider as an inspiration, an inspirational leader or a motivating leader, is somebody who looks at the mirror when things go wrong and looks outside the window to find who to give credit to when things go right. Not many people can do this, because when we work as hard as we do and things go right, we want to have that little pat on our back. We want that acknowledgement, we want that recognition, we want to put that hand up and say, I have led the team to this level of success. And that's when you lose the plot. That's when you make it all about you. Then what happened to together everyone achieves more? The team. It's the team, right? And I'm not talking about giving speeches on the dice, which we all do very well. When we have to collect an award, we will always stand up there and say, it's because of the team that I'm collecting this award. If you're really collecting the award because of the team, let your team go and collect it. If it is for the team, cover that team up while giving them the lessons that they need to learn. They go hand in hand. I remember, I'm going to share an anecdote from, so I've worked with a bank for over a decade, between two banks, Citi and Barclays. And it's not a proud confession, but I do feel that not only I could have been a better leader when I got the opportunity to lead. I think I've also been a victim of poor leadership. A lot of people around me who were in the leadership role were not such inspirational leaders. They weren't so motivating, and the reason is not that they were bad people. The reason is that they were totally outcome driven, result driven, and hence couldn't manage the balance. So some of them were totally inclined towards relationships and some were only about results. And that's when I realized that leadership is not so straightforward, it's not so simple. You really need to learn how to keep that balance between being result oriented and relationship oriented, because both are important. In fact, the future of leadership is more towards purpose led leadership than profit led leadership. So there was a phase when profit was be all and end all of business. But today, many organizations are going back to their values and questioning whether these values are just like a set of words, or do they mean something more than that? Like, what is the value of this organization? What is the culture that we are driving? And the people that we are hiring, how are they fitting into the culture? How will you know the cultural fit if you don't know what the culture is? And culture is not defined by the board members. Culture is also not defined by the CXOs. Culture is the combined soul of the organization. It is every single person who works in that organization. What is that one thing that binds them all together? What is that one thing that's non negotiable? It's a behavior that you see at the top, which trickles down to the last level of your organization. But you must understand that as you go up the ladder, you are more in the spotlight. So everything that you do is being looked at. And that's a cost that you pay to put your hand up and say, I'm ready for a senior role, which means that you need to bring in a lot more authenticity in whatever you do. You need to do what you say and say what you do. That congruence, if it is missing, that's the end of the game. And let me tell you, I've seen that with such close proximity, how people lose respect and trust without realizing, because there is no congruence in what they say and what they do. What you say to people or about people, all of that is in spotlight. All of that is being watched. Every bit of what you do and say is adding or taking away something from the trust that you are building in those relationships. So let me quickly touch upon what the future of leadership is going to look like as per me, and also a very interesting article in Forbes I was going through, and they kind of elaborate a lot on some of these points. I would love to get your views on this as well. So let me divide the focus. Like I said, organizations today already are more purpose led organizations, not profit led organizations, which means that people are in the middle of everything that matters, right? So future of leadership is a threefold approach to my mind. The first is, how do we manage the economic uncertainty happening around, right? Whether it is the recession, which will probably have its impact on India and other developing countries, how will that shape up? How will inflation affect profitability and bottom lines of different businesses? How will it finally have an impact on my job, right? That is a thought that will cross my mind if I'm picking up a newspaper and going through it every morning. The more I do that in the days to come, the more there will be for me to worry about and more concerns I will have, because of the way the global economy is shaping up and going through. So now, as a leader, what can I do to address this sense of uncertainty, which might not probably come from me as a leader? Maybe it's not even coming from my organization, but it's in the air and it will impact people. When Facebook is letting go of people, when Amazon is letting go of people, and I might say I'm not quite there and my book is not as big, I'm not even in that industry, but I'm sure you would agree that people out there are worried and they're going through these news pieces and they are concerned about what's in store for them. Hence, it's very important for us as leaders to go back to communication, bringing in honesty and clarity in communication, bringing in that transparency in what's happening, even at a strategy level within the organization, and focusing on quality key performance indicators. What really matters? Because everything cannot matter. What are some of the things that really matter, which adds to quality of our output as an organization, which adds to our productivity levels, which adds to our customer experience? Can I look at those KPIs closely? And more importantly, can I create a buy-in of my team to commit to those KPIs? Because that's where accountability will come in. Otherwise, it's impossible. We cannot have quarterly appraisals and hold people by their collar anymore and say, bhai, aapne ye nahi kiya, wo nahi kiya. On a 10, I'll give you a 6 or a 7. It will not help. It has never helped, and it will actually not help to any extent going forward, because people who are reporting into you are those who will be accountable for what they're doing if they have their buy-in. They are committed to what they're doing if they can look up to you as a leader. They will trust you if they can respect you. And for that, you need to bring in not just authenticity, but also openness, flexibility to create a buy in. That's what a future leader needs to be ready with. The second point that I want to bring to your attention is managing the on site, remote, and hybrid work situations. Now, COVID is around the corner. It's going to hit us again. Hybrid model is here to stay. We've tried and tested that already in the last 2 years, and we've faced the challenges. Every organization has faced their own set of challenges in managing the productivity and engagement with their employees in a hybrid environment. We need to find ways to master this. We need to find ways to create a rapport with our people, even when they don't show up under the same roof. They're not coming to office. How do I connect with them? How do I engage with people? How do I get them to participate and contribute in meetings? How do I create that level of trust as a leader that my people are working even if they're not under my nose? Now, this is a very different scenario, guys. And see, COVID gave us no option. Okay, suddenly people disappeared and they had to work from home. Now, when things opened up, some of us came back offline completely. Some of us have played around with hybrid, but even for that lot, I see less amount of comfort, because trust is still at a, a lower level, if I may say. You still are compromising with trust over there. You're still not sure whether people are taking their work seriously or not. Is it work from home, or is it, just heck sake, showing up for meetings? Are people really committed? Are people really accountable? As leaders, how do we create that rapport? How do we create that level of engagement is something that we need to look at very, very seriously. And in the following sessions that we will have, including the newsletter that I want to start rolling out from this year on, I will share a lot of insight on these different challenges, including the third one, which is about creating a psychological wellness, which includes mental and emotional well-being of our people. Organizations are made by people, right? So if we look at their welfare, not just in terms of incentives and salaries, but holistic welfare in terms of how they feel, how they think, right? How they behave. Are we spending some training budgets on behavioral aspects of our leaders? Or are we still focused on product and processes? Are we having conversations around culture? Are we allowing and encouraging vulnerability? Are we okay to know a little bit about each other as people? Or are we still holding that on to once a quarter offsite where we all will sit and eat and get drunk and party, one night, and then come back with the same facade and the same discomfort and uneasiness with each other, and spend all the time and effort in just hiding that, pretending to be all okay when we know that we are not? I'm sure you know exactly what I'm saying. I think the future of leadership is a function of understanding both micro and macroeconomic environment. It's about understanding, as a leader, how do I improve my ability to communicate, my ability to be authentic, my ability to manage different formats, which is either remote or on-site or hybrid, and my ability to uh, dedicate efforts towards ensuring holistic well-being of each and every person in my team. How are we doing that? What is your plan? It's not just the intention that matters here. What matters is the plan. Do you have a plan in place? What does that plan look like? Quarter by quarter, just as how you made a business plan for 2023. I'm sure you have. You know what profits will look like by the end of this year. What is your plan for your people? What is your plan for the purpose that drives your organization? How well do you understand the culture of the organization you've created? What are the values, and do you live those values yourself as a leader? These are some of the questions that I want to park with you. And I do want to stay connected in between these live sessions through a newsletter. So please share your email address with us. You can write to us, or there is a link here. I think in the chat, we will share the link on one of our LinkedIn posts as well. So reach out to us if you want to keep getting some insights on leadership from our end. We would love to pass this on to you every month. We commit to bring it out on within the first week of every month. So share your email address so that we can stay connected and keep growing and keep learning. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Thank you, Madhvi, Swati, Praveen, everybody here, Leena, Jasmeet, Anirudhji, Vanshika, Naveen, Samarth. Thank you so much, guys, for making time to be here. Madhvi, I'm going to pick your comment since I see it's coming from your heart, as it always does. You said, but that's not easy to do always what you say and say what you mean. So used to keeping so much to ourselves. Transparency and honesty then will have to be an authentic, automatic reaction. Yeah. So, you touch upon a very interesting point. What does transparency really mean? How much information is okay to share? Because if you share a lot of information, it can also create restlessness with our among our people, because they might not have that level of maturity to absorb and understand that information. So great topic to touch upon in probably one of the subsequent live sessions. Madhvi, I'm going to make a note of this and I will bring this out, because it deserves a longer slot, a deeper discussion on how much transparency is really needed. Let's touch upon that and various other aspects of leadership. Anand, thank you for joining in. Thanks, everyone. God bless you all. Wish you all a very, very happy new year once again. Please join me here every Tuesday. Let's get used to this. Block our calendar for this Tuesday catch up at 7:30 live on LinkedIn and YouTube. I love to do these slots and I have so much more to share with you all. So please stay connected. Let's keep growing and let's keep learning. Thank you. I'll see you soon.